Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. So some of you guys have asked me for some advice on how to complete the 9th and the 10th difficulty of the current event. And yes, I can kind of imagine that it's a little bit more challenging, especially if you're trying to achieve faster timings. Because I think if you run some rather tanky teams, like let's say if you have a height and you just load height with a lot of other support espers, it's definitely going to be a little bit easier for you to manage it. It's just that it might take a little bit longer than usual. So the main threat over here is generally just the poison debuffs that the enemies have. And on top of that, they have like attack breaks, all that kind of good stuff. So that spells up for height 100%. So if you have a height, it's going to be a lot easier. But on top of that, there are some other espers that I think would thrive really well in this mode. So for example, espers that cleanse. So Jinyu Yao is pretty decent. Catherine is also pretty decent. Gabrielle for the immunity. Changpu for the healing with immunity. For whatever reason, you want to use her instead. And there are some other espers that I think would do pretty decently as well. So espers like Everett, for example, right? Because the enemies have a lot of AoE attacks and they are more than likely to trigger a counter attack from Everett. And obviously, Everett also protects your allies in some cases. And of course, there are many other espers as well, like Sally, Clara, Hengrie, etc, etc. So I'm going to show you the team that I'm using right now that is giving me a pretty decent timing. So I have about 48 seconds on average here. So let's just take a look at this team up close. So this is the team that I'm using right now. It is obviously the pay-to-win team. I will show you a free-to-play team afterwards, but I just like to use this because it's a lot stronger, a lot faster. Too bad it's a little bit shorter. But anyway, here are the stats of my espers. So Ira, here are her stats. Gaius, who has pretty decent stats. I haven't changed his stats for a very long time. Ashley over here, who is probably a little bit harder for you to achieve because of the speed. And on top of that, like the crit rate, crit damage, and the attack power as well. Gabrielle. And finally, I am using the Trial Fatum Sisters. I'm not actually using my own Fatum Sisters because of the max skill up on her kit, which I think kind of helps a little bit, especially if you want to do a little bit more healing with her second skill and have better uptime on her buff, just in case you have your own Fatum Sisters who are unskilled, right? So let's take a look at how this team works. It's not a very like speed-tuned team, so previously, I used a lot of different teams that it's like, oh, perfectly on the second wave, then you land defense break, you land immunity or whatever, right? It's not going to be the case. Not that much. So for this team, I'm using both Fatum Sisters and Ira, which is really good in controlling the enemy's AP, right? So Ira has pretty good AP control. She has slow as well. Fatum Sisters has the speed up buff with even more AP control. So they kind of like work they're complementary to each other and they function pretty well with each other as well. So yeah, the enemies are kind of like, they're not really moving all that much, which is really good. And yeah, I just need to get some of my buffs up once in a while, and that's about it. So pretty easy. I can definitely do without the Ashley, I think. I think I can do without Ashley and just drop a Suhua, for example. It's going to be a little bit slower, but it's still going to perform the same. And obviously, I can replace Gaius. I can replace Gaius with a Jiangman, so let's take a look. So this is just a slightly more free-to-play team. I'm basically just throwing in more flow-type espers because the enemies are generally Inferno-type. So let's just see how this differs. It's still pretty decent. It's not going to be as fast, of course, because the previous team was just a straight-up DPS team. Yeah, and I popped all the Nether Bloom like that, right? So not bad. I think that's pretty good synergy in a sense. I'll show you the stats at the end of this video. Wow, I missed all the defense break. That was alarming. Yeah, so the power of immunity is quite obvious over here, right? So that's the main thing. I think prevention is better than cure. So immunity is a little bit better than cleansers. So if you want to bring a Hengrie or Clara, they are still good. But I still feel like, you know, just pure immunity is probably the way to go because you don't want to spend too much time here as well. Yep, 1 minute, so it's pretty decent. Let me show you the stats. So over here, Ira, I've already shown you her stats. Jiangman over here, so she is rather slow right now. I used to run her a little bit faster, but I need to speed tune for Shadowfire. Black Twin, and Gabrielle, and of course the free trial Fatum Sisters. So that's about it. So this is the team that I'm running with right now. It's pretty decent. It's working out really well for me, and in fact, I've actually completed most of the shop by now. So I've actually bought out everything. I'm probably going to stop farming this for now and just let the AFK rewards give me more event boxes, but I think that's about it. So I'm just going to wait for the next part of the event to come around, which is available in 3 days. And of course, here are the rehearsals that I have. So these are whatever they have upgraded thus far. But I feel like this is probably like the main thing, right? Diligence. So allied espers deal 30% increased damage if their speed is higher than the target speed, which is really good. So that's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.